You ready? Hello, arty peoples, and welcome to another episode of Jerry's Live. My name is Emmy Klein, and I'm your host this evening. And as you can see, we have a guest on the show. Everyone, please welcome Kevin Greeland from Golden Artist Paints. Almost didn't make that. Almost stuttered a bit. Sorry, Kevin from Golden Artist Paints. This is going to be a really, really wonderful show. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome.
Yes, and everybody please give Kevin a big round of applause and welcome to the show. Now today we have a really awesome class planned. It's going to be all about QoR watercolors, and I am so excited. But before we do jump into all of the details of all the really fun things that we're going to be covering today, I wanted to remind you guys, if you are interested in anything that we are showing you, make sure you go to the website, JerrysArtarama.com, and type in today's class code, which is JL356. So if you type in JL356 into our search bar, our teacher's cart should come up, and then you can check out all of these wonderful watercolors that way. So, of course, without further ado, Kevin, what are we going over today?
We're going to be looking at 20 of our new QoR watercolors. And so I thought, was thinking about what colors did I want to start with, and my background, believe it or not, I went to a Catholic college for the first 2 years, and I studied theology and philosophy, so the only thing I could get into was clay, and so I really fell in love with raku, and so I like the iridescence and interference colors because of that sparkle of raku, so I thought we'd start there.
We love sparkle on the show.
Yeah.
We love sparkle. Sparkle's always acceptable.
So we'll look at the iridescent and interference colors, and then we'll talk a little bit about the new labels and QoR, and then we'll look at some of the pigment colors, and we'll talk about 3 of our grounds for watercolor as well.
I am so
How's
excited.
that sound?
I love it. Okay, so 20 new colors for QoR. We're starting with the sparkly ones. Love that.
Yes.
Which one are we starting with?
We're going to start with the interference violet.
Okay.
So
Here
we'll
we
put
go.
a little bit of that in here.
All right.
And then after we finish these, I'll talk about the new labels. All these, there you go. And we'll put a little water in here.
Oh yeah, I shut that. Sorry.
Good caution to have it closed.
There's a lot of equipment around here. I always usually shut the water.
And so we're just going to incorporate that in with the water, and I have some black paper, and we'll dampen that paper.
Now, can you guys go to that overhead camera? Because I feel like we're not, you guys got to get this. Oh, there we go, there we go.
Sparkle in there.
Yes, so this is the interference
Interference
violet. Oh, it's so pretty. So interference, can you run down with what that means? Because I know we said sparkle,
Right.
but I know
So
there's a lot of different variations of sparkle.
The interference colors have mica and a colorant, and we'll put that out on some paper. So they're semi-granulating and staining, and just wetting some black paper, and then we'll go ahead and run that through there. So you can really see that sparkle. It doesn't look violet here, but on a dark surface.
It's like wildly different.
Yeah.
But like, my goodness, like, hold on. I'm gonna just, I know that one side is wet, but like that sparkle is beautiful. Now, I feel like once it dries, it's going to look even more punchy.
Yes, and I have some dried examples here. So this is the wet state of the interference violet, and then here is a dry and a dry on this one. And so you can kind of see that sparkle.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely stunning.
And that's the interference violet.
And that's, you can definitely see, and that's, you said it was semi-granulating, right?
Yeah.
So you can really see that texture of the paper kind of
right.
coming in to effect there.
And depending what paper you use, you know, you can get a little more of that effect.
Here,
So
let me
that's the
actually pull that up a little bit.
Interference violet.
It's so pretty. I hope everybody in the chats are going ooh and ah because lovely.
And while we're talking of the chat, we have Kathy. She is one of our material application specialists. She's in product support, and she's there to answer all your technical questions about QoR. She's like our QoR guru. So
Yes.
all things watercolor, Kathy's
it.
your lady.
All right. Now, also, we just as a reminder, we do have our amazing moderators in the chats as well. So if you guys do have questions while we are live at any time about any of these colors or anything about QoR related watercolors, ask them in the chats, and then Amanda and Michaelia will be able to ask them to us while we're live. So,
All right.
that
was the interference violet. So let's take a look at the interference blue next.
The blue? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna
Red.
say- I was going to say, you had red first.
Let's do the interference red. It's good that we have
Okay.
two people to keep us organized here.
We got a lot of watercolors to go through. And also, I'm over here just mixing this up to make sure that, because the mica does tend to settle while it's sitting here. So you guys are going to see me mixing them over here. But this is the interference red.
This is the interference red.
And then here is
The dry
the
version.
dry versions as well. I got a little blob of it on the on the table. So now this one, it has that same almost
Same reflective quality.
and
So-
then it has that like almost like if we were to put this on white paper.
You wouldn't notice it as much. If you mix it with a darker color, you would be able to do that as well.
Now that we're gonna get into that a little bit later,
Yeah,
though,
we're going to
which
talk
I'm really
about
excited
some
about.
mixing as well.
But it's almost transparent when you put it on the white
Right.
paper, though, right?
Yeah.
So, it's stunning colors.
So
Love
interference
that.
red.
Then we have interference blue.
Now the interference blue.
Yes. And I'm gonna be over here mixing it.
And I'm just wetting this black paper with some water.
All right, nice and,
And now we're
loaded
going
up
to do
for
the
you.
interference blue on there.
Holy cow, that is so pretty. Now, did we have a question?
Yes. Can you tell us what that black paper is that you were using?
I believe we're using Arches or Stonehenge.
It's Stonehenge.
Yes.
It's Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
Can confirm. And then that also is going to be in our teacher's cart as a reminder. So if you guys are interested in checking out black paper, this is a black watercolor paper. So it can withstand a lot of water application and not buckle and be crazy. Like if you get any kind of a black paper that's really too thin, this is going to have that that ability to hold up to it. But it also really makes those interference colors pop.
Yeah.
Which is just stunning. Like I know that's coming out across on camera where it's just flashing blue. It's so pretty. You guys know we love sparkles on the show. Now, next up we have
Our
interference
green.
green. And I'm going to be over here mixing it up. Now, of course, I want you all to tell us which interference color is your favorite once we're done showing you all these beautiful colors. Is this the last interference color?
No, we have another kind of secondary surprise to
That's right,
the
I forgot
iridescent
about that.
colors. We have ones that shift in color. So this one will be the interference green.
Okay, nice and loaded.
Thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Which is, of course, there's the tube.
Right. So there's the tube and the interference green. And you can see lots of sparkle there, both in wet and dry. And then let's take a look at the dry version. You really get
right.
that sparkle.
Who's painting snakes? Because or birds, let's be honest.
Yeah, Quetzal.
Bugs.
Yep.
I feel like that would just be, but it tells me snakes. And I don't even like snakes, but this is too pretty.
So that's the interference green.
That's lovely. Okay, sorry. Got distracted by the sparkle. There's also the full sheet in case anybody needed to see that. Oh, beautiful color. Interference green. I will
I'm going
take
to give you the
that.
brush, and I'll take these.
Now, I apologize for my reach. I'm going to have to reach up here. Get the next one, which I am very excited for.
So the next set of colors are very similar to the iridescent color, but they do a color shift. They move from one color to a secondary color, and it looks like we might have a question.
A quick question
Yes.
about the interference colors. Is it okay to put those in pans and re-wet them?
Yes, and in fact, we have some in a pan set already. I was kind of saving that for the end, but we can pull
We're
that out.
jumping in. We're jumping in.
We're just jumping in.
We need more of the sparkles.
This is the QoR mini reflective set. And so it comes, in its own little tin. It has a little paper for swatching out in there. And then it has the little chiclets. And there are some iridescent and interference colors in there already.
Goodness. That looks magical.
Yep. So that was kind of the little surprise towards the end, but we're having it up front.
Yes, just because we need all the sparkles.
Yep.
Get this wet over here.
So we'll hang on to those.
But this one, though, that we're getting ready
so this
to do.
is, let me find the tube here. I think it's this one. This is the interference green, interference violet green shift. And so when you use this, it does a color shift of those two colors, the violet and the green.
Nice and loaded up for you.
Thank you. We'll do a little bit more. And so on the top there, can you start to see that green, and then as it transitions?
What's funny is I can see green from this direction, and I can see purple on the camera.
Yep.
So I feel like it's gonna come across better on the
That's the dry.
version. But actually, can we go to that side camera? 'Cause
Yeah,
I feel like
'cause
that's
you can really see
it
the
becomes
green.
even more.
Yeah, there's the green, and then as we move it, you can kind of see the violet.
There we go.
So this one shifts between two colors, green and violet.
So Katie's,
This is magic.
Katie's just like so pretty. Again, we have to know at the very end of this little session before we move on to the other colors. What is your favorite interference color?
And there's the.
And there's the
This
here's
is
the
the
full.
solid one. Yep.
Yes.
So green, and then you can kind of see that flip to the violet.
How
Do we have
pretty is
another
that?
question? Oh. Somebody, she's hallucinating.
I think there's a fly that's right here.
Oh, is that what it is? A little bug? Sorry. Didn't mean to call you out on live, Jerry's.
It's fine. But everybody, look at this pretty sparkle.
Yes, yeah, look at the sparkle.
So there we go. There, I can get it really purple when I tilt it that way.
Yeah. So
then it's
interference,
real
and
green.
this one
Oh,
is the
pretty.
violet green shift.
Okay,
All
there's
right.
that. All right, now I'm gonna get the next one after I reach across here. Sorry. If you wanna go back over to that overhead camera, and we'll see nothing but my arm otherwise.
And this one,
Trying to find the link to that little set.
I think we have it under the reflective set. I'm adding it to the card.
Oh, lovely.
Is it called the
Yes.
reflective set?
it is the mini reflective 6.
Love it. Now this is,
This one is the
Green
green
orange.
orange. So this one will flip between green and orange. And yeah.
there you go.
Let's take a peek at that one. And we want to keep making a mess there on the
That is
table.
A-okay. That is exactly what I'm here for. Let's make the table sparkly.
Right.
I'm okay with this.
So this is the green
Ooh.
orange, and you can really see that green. You might get a little feedback because of the wet paper there.
Yeah, it's hard to get, especially when it goes
Wet,
wet.
yeah.
But when it's dry,
I think you can really see from that side angle too.
yeah. And we're gonna pop back over to that side angle for you guys as well.
So there's the orange, and then when you go head on, you can kind of see the green.
There's the orange. Woo! That's crazy orange. And then it goes green.
Yep.
Look at that magic. I swear this isn't camera magic. This is just the paint.
So interesting because when you first put it up there, it looked gold too.
I know.
3 colors in it.
So that is the interference green orange.
It's just so pretty. We could just do this right
For-
here all
yep.
day. Now, of course, I'm going to also show you the solid swatch here. Here's the green orange full swatch. Get it to focus. Goes crazy orange.
You don't even have to get it to focus. Out of focus, flipping it around, it changes colors.
There we go. That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
That's absolutely insane.
So you got to let us know which is your favorite.
We have one more though.
Yep, we have one more to go.
One
Oh,
more.
I'm going to give you the brush back.
Yes. Here we go.
And I'll take these.
Okay. I'm going to switch these out so I can keep this mixture. All right.
Really, and then you can, that's what I loved about these. Just relating it back to raku, those little pops of color, on the ceramics.
I absolutely could see how you would go from loving, because it's very much with raku, it's like you get those shifts of color.
Right.
And this is something that if you wanted to paint pottery and have it be almost like a still life kind of a painting, you could really get those beautiful shifts. But I mean, in general, these would be wonderful for
Yep.
all kinds of things.
This one is the green blue. Just look at that.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Isn't that beautiful?
Again, what's funny is I see green on the camera, but in real life I see blue, although it shifts down to green over here.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And
So
we have the dry example of
there
that.
we go.
So you can kind of see the green there on the angle, and then
We're gonna go over here. Woo! Look
Oh.
at that blue. Holy cow.
I feel like I wish everybody at home could see all of our faces. Right?
I'm trying to figure out a way to like
Oh.
trying to figure out which direction I need to tilt it.
there's the green.
There's the
Yeah.
green. Because I feel like it depends on the way that the light's hitting the mica
Definitely, yeah.
and having that color shift. But
There you go.
okay, everybody, tell us which one is your favorite and what you are going to be painting with them. Because you guys know I love
You love you some
teal.
sparkle?
I love
Oh.
we love sparkle and we love teal on the show, so I think this one's my favorite.
Purple to green.
The purple to green is really pretty too. It is absolutely stunning. So here's the full sheet, which so crazy how it does that, and then almost flashes gold. Which again, it might just be something reflecting into it, but it's just so fun. Do we have a question? There we go.
Yes, more of a request.
Yes.
When you are shifting between these and regular colors, can you mix some of the iridescent with a regular color, and how much of that mica or sparkle or iridescent stays?
So the simple answer is yes.
Okay.
You can mix all of these colors.
Okay.
You'll with the interference colors, you'll get a little bit better result if you're mixing it with a darker color. But you'll see, I have some examples of mixes. You'll see that those really do lots of lovely things, especially
Yes.
with the iridescent color as well.
Oh yes.
So one more thing I thought I'd quick show you. So we make a product called micaceous iron oxide, and it's an acrylic paint product, and it's hematite ore. So if you can see a little bit of that sparkle in that. And it's great for pan pastel or colored pencil as well. You can mix this with paints. But I put just a couple of the interference colors on there because I thought it was pretty as well. Again, kind of thinking from my perspective of sculptural raku,
Yeah.
just thought that was really lovely.
Oh yeah, no, and I love how well this sits on the surface. It's really flashing on the camera, and it's
Yeah.
so pretty. So pretty.
And then we have a couple of quick examples.
Of artwork.
So
that we
this is
can do
Mike,
with that.
again, one of our product support personnel. He did both of these, and these utilize the interference colors and some mixes.
So you have
And so if I move this, you can kind of really see that sparkle on there,
so pretty.
that interference feedback.
It's wonderful how it just. I want an entire wall full of these.
Yeah.
If he's watching, just so you know, we all want your artwork.
All right, I think you have some commissions
So
there, Mike.
pretty.
And then talking of the mixes, we have some over here.
We have a lot of examples over here, so
Yep.
we have to shift some things around. So, do you want both of these or just
Yeah,
that?
well, we can talk about
Okay.
both of these. So the question that came up about mixing. So this is, and again, I'm putting it on the black paper. This is our Pyrrole Orange, which is one of our new colors we'll get to in a few minutes. And I just kind of put it on the paper dry. And then here I pre-wet the paper and put the Pyrrole Orange on. This is the Interference Green Orange. So again, dry. And then wet by itself, and then I made a mixture of the Pyrrole Orange with the green, and that's what we got on the bottom there. So it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it has a very subtle green shift, but it's the two oranges are coming together to really give you
Yeah.
a really fun color.
This one is the Phthalo Blue Red shade, which again is one of our new colors. And so it's on the top here. I don't know if you can really see that because it's on the dark paper.
Really dark, yeah.
But I mixed some of that blue with the Interference Violet first, and then the Interference Red, and the Interference Green, and then the Green Orange. So you can really get lots of color shifts there. And
is
change
there- Like, is there a limit of how much of one to the other that you should kind of go for? Or should it be like a 50-50 mixture? Or should it...
No, you can really experiment. I mean, the thing is, if you're using a really opaque color, like let's say you were using cadmium purple,
Yeah.
which is pretty opaque, when you mix that with a color, it will cancel out the interference. So you have to experiment, you know, with your mixes, but you'll still get some of the interference to show.
Oh, yeah. I feel like
Especially at a
that's-
50-50 for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's, watercolors tend to be on the transparent side
Yeah.
in general, so but it's just that opacity would cover up that mica, which
Yeah.
makes sense when you think about it like that. But in case anybody wants to see this a little bit closer, because I know I do, it's so pretty. Okay, then we have one more pretty
This
color to
is
show.
our,
I'm gonna actually give you that.
okay.
Sorry, I was just didn't know where to put that.
So we're going to take a look at our iridescent copper. We have the gold, silver, and pearl, and so we've added the copper in the lineup. And I'm going to put a little water on here.
I am mixing it over here off camera. You have a very loaded brush now.
Thank you. And so this is the iridescent copper.
So pretty.
And you know, if you can really let this down with water too. I'm using it pretty boldly here,
Yeah.
just so it shows up. And then we have that in a dry version. Ta-da! So that is the iridescent copper, and this is wet, and then the dry version.
How pretty is that? And of course we also have the full sheet
Yeah.
where you have some swipes there, which is just lovely. And I love, again, you can see almost like a slight granulation, just a little bit here at the very top of the page.
And remember, these are all semi-granulating.
So pretty. Sorry, I got distracted by the shiny again.
And then
Happen.
to answer the question of mixing, I have some copper, so we'll move this aside.
So this is the first time we're seeing it on white paper, which is I'm
Right,
very
so this
excited.
is the iridescent copper, and I'm just going to kind of go right on top of my dry with a little bit of wet, just so you can kind of see the wet to dry. So iridescent copper, this was applied with a wet brush to dry paper. Then here I wet the paper and put that on. And then this is one of our new colors, which is we're going to call it Iso Yellow, but, because Iso Yellow is easy, but it's actually Isoindolinone yellow.
Nobody asked me to say that. Nope.
You can try it.
ISO. That's how we spell it, and the rest of the letters escape me. There's like 25 of them.
Yeah, so Isoindolinone yellow. And then so dry and wet. And then I mixed it just in varying degrees with the copper here.
So pretty.
And I just love this combination with this yellow and the copper. Just, I don't know if you can zoom in and
We're gonna
get some of those
just-
details
we're gonna
or
do this.
raise it all the way up. but
Oh,
I just
yeah.
love how
Like the
that
granulation here?
Yep, the granulation and staining are just beautiful.
And like you guys are still getting that shiny, hopefully. And actually, maybe we go to the side camera for this
Okay,
one because
yeah,
we might be
great
able
idea.
to see the granulation and just the sparkle.
Lovely there.
I'm gonna Vanna White all of your swatches.
All right,
I love
and I'm
it.
going to quick have a sip of my chai tea.
But yeah, you can really see that ISO yellow that's coming through here. But that copper is just absolutely stunning.
So
And
Isoindolinone is one of the new yellows, and I think we have the tube over there.
Yes, we do. Here we go.
And so this is a strong, intense, rich yellow, kind of orange. In terms of color, it could be considered an intensely saturated version of Naples Yellow Deep. And I thought we could point out some of the labeling that's on here.
Okay.
I don't know if we can see that up close.
We do.
But the little squares there cover
let's go inside.
transparency. And so there'll be a scale for transparency, a scale for staining, and then if it were granulating, there would be a G there, kind of right where your thumb is. So that little square will tell you if it's transparent, semi-transparent, or in this case, because half the square is colored in, it's semi-opaque. If it was a solid square, it would be completely opaque.
And so the square is a transparency. The circle is
Staining, so that's
Staining.
how easy it is to lift the color off. And so this particular one is semi-staining because half the circle is filled in, which means medium amount of difficulty maybe in lifting that color off the paper.
Okay. And then, of course, you also have the little light fast rating as well.
Right, light fast rating
Right.
is there,
Great.
and the
Set it
color of swatched out there on the top.
there. Oh, yeah. Which
And
is
you have the
lovely.
pigment ID.
As well. The PY.
This
110.
one is PY 110.
Yes.
Isoindolinone
Trying to read that without
yellow.
moving my hand at the same time. So there we go. And if anybody wants to learn how to spell it,
Yeah.
there are all of the letters.
Take a screenshot.
Yeah. I will never be. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that. I think in my lifetime. But I
You
will
can
say
just
ISO
call
yellow.
it ISO
ISO
yellow.
yellow.
Yeah. Or think of it as Isoindolinone. Isoindolinone. I don't know.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead.
Swatch it out.
Yeah, we're gonna swatch that out. So let me put a little water on our paper.
Sorry, I'm gonna just reach
All
across
right,
for
yeah,
just
so
a
we
second.
don't make a big mess.
Try and get things out of the way here. There we go. I hope you guys are ready for this beautiful yellow color. Ooh, how pretty.
So that's the color swatched out, and because we have the copper sitting right there. Now, one thing, Kathy, our watercolor guru lady, she reminded me of this, is you want to consider separate brushes for your interference and iridescent colors, because those little microparticles really hang around, and so you could, you'll wind up contaminating your brush. But this is the copper then mixed with that yellow Isoindolinone, and then I'm just going to let this down even more.
With a little bit of water.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
And now all of our brushes are contaminated, but I
That's okay.
love this combination of the color and the yellow.
we already did the normal swatch, so it's fine.
Yeah. There you
think
go.
that was
Yeah.
that
I don't know. We'll just lay
So
that one
pretty.
aside. Yeah. So that is the Isoindolinone yellow.
Love it.
And then we're going to look at our next color, which is Pyrrole Orange. Oh, we got
Make
a
sure we
little
pick up
mess
that.
here.
Don't want it to get onto the swatch.
Yep. And while because I already started this one, let me jump gears a little bit. Well, let's swatch out the Pyrrole Orange, and then I'll show it on our 3 grounds, and I'll talk about our 3
I'm
grounds.
very excited about
Okay.
these grounds too. It's colors, textures, and all kinds of options of things that we can do with this watercolor. My brain's going like a mile a minute.
So this is our Pyrrole Orange, and it's semi-opaque. It's a bright orange, and if you really let it down, it's kind of a salmony or coral color.
Ooh. That is really lovely.
Now let me see if I can just really drop some water on there.
Yeah, it definitely pulls a little bit more of like a peachy kind of pink kind of color. And the pigment for this is PO73, in case anybody is wondering.
So really
Pigment
letting it down,
orange.
it goes quite, quite a difference from that orange
yeah.
down to that kind of coral
very
salmon
lovely.
color. So that is the Pyrrole Orange. This one is non-granulating and it's semi-opaque, and definitely it is staining.
Which makes sense because it is a strong color.
And then somewhere we had, what did we do with our dry samples of color? Oh, they're right under here.
Over here.
Oh, here was the, that's the Isoindolinone.
You had them. Here's the ISO yellow as it's dry.
Old
and then,
news.
Here, I'll take those. I can Vanna White your swatches. But here's so this is the ISO,
This is
not the Pyrrole Orange.
Pyrrole Orange on the dry paper, and then here it is wet. And the other thing I was going to talk about, I've applied this Pyrrole Orange to our grounds. So as we move through the colors, I thought I'd talk a little bit about our grounds. And this is on a ampersand panel. And we just applied some gesso. And then Golden makes 3 different watercolor grounds. And so the first one is the watercolor ground. And that one, it's hard to get a lot of texture on there. It's pretty smooth, but it's a super bright white, very absorbent, opaque surface. The next one up is the cold press ground. And so the cold press ground, you can make it pretty smooth, which is what I did here, but you can also, with a palette knife or a brush, you can add a lot of texture. So I don't know if you can see that texture there from the side.
Nice. Actually, what's really funny is that this almost reminds me of hot press paper. This reminds me of like cold press paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense because it's called cold press ground.
And with these textures, some of the granulating colors are really beautiful
Oh,
and
I
gather
bet.
in there.
I bet.
And then if you really want to do watercolor and sculptural things, we have the light dimensional ground. And so just kind of weigh those two.
Oh,
Right?
wow. So the cold press ground is really heavy, and the light dimensional ground feels like a feather.
Yeah. So
Like it's-
if you want to do something really big and you don't want a lot of weight, you might want to consider the light dimensional ground.
That makes
And
sense.
you can get quite sculpture. You can see that's, like 1/4 inch, almost 1/2 inch tall peaks that I created. And so
Really
we'll
lovely.
swatch some of that out and we'll compare. So this again is the Pyrrole Orange.
I'm going to actually just take this one off of here.
And this one is just, I'll kind of do it dry. And then,
Here, I'm going to actually pop this further
Oh,
over
and-
just
yeah.
a little bit so
Oh,
everyone
good.
can see.
and then I'll just add some water along the bottom line there and get that to bleed.
Ooh.
So,
The way that it's pulling that watercolor, the color into those little textury
Yeah.
areas is lovely.
so Pyrrole Orange, and this is on the 3 watercolor grounds. This one it isn't granulating, so we'll take a look at a couple other colors that are, and we'll hang on to both of these.
We're going to put them right underneath. How about
Yeah,
that?
a little, it's like a baking show.
Kind of. It's just a lot of mess, which is like it never happened, huh?
All right, so the next one up is, I got it mixed up here. All right, next one up is our Diazo Scarlet. And I think I got 2 pieces of paper under there, that's okay. So wet, and then over here on the dry, that's Diazo
so
Scarlet.
pretty.
It's a kind of a orangey red color.
Yeah.
Not so much granulating. This is non-granulating. It is semi-opaque, but it's definitely staining as well.
Yeah.
But I just love some of the interaction there. And then here it is on the dry paper. So Diazo Scarlet. This is PR 242. And
Here's the tube for everybody.
Yep, there's the tube. And I don't know if you can see that, light fastness rating of 1.
So, remind us though, with the light fastness rating, if it's a 1, it's
Good,
good.
excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, and
The
then-
best level that you can have,
Yep.
right?
It goes from excellent to good to fair to poor.
Gotcha. And pour is like a 4?
Pour
4 is 4?
pour is 4.
Okay, so 4 is bad.
Right.
1 is great. Just want to make sure that we got the scale, because I know sometimes that can be a little confusing for everybody. So,
Yeah.
Diazo Scarlet.
Scarlet.
That's very
Diazo
pretty.
Scarlet.
Very pretty. All right, and we'll take that. And then the next
The
one.
next one is going to be our Ultramarine Pink Dark. And this is one of the colors that is granulating.
Which I am obsessed with this color. This is one of the colors that I have been looking forward to ever since I realized that it was going to be on today's show, and I am so excited because I want to work with it immediately. It is so pretty and so subtle, but like that color is so pretty. So pretty. I don't know if you guys can really can I emphasize that it's so pretty.
So this one kind of occupies the general color that we used to have of the ultramarine pink. This one is the ultramarine pink darker, which is a slightly darker color, and then we have
Goes
the
from
gray
purple,
too. Yeah.
So
And-
it is a very if you mix it with a bunch of, because we did mix it with a lot
Yeah.
of water, so it is on the lighter side. So if we added a little less water, you can get a little bit
Right.
more of a punchier color. Like it can go really strong.
Yeah.
But
We
it is beautiful.
Let's just do that.
Yes.
Put a little bit out on
Yeah.
right out on the paper.
I say this is what happens when we pre-mix our colors, because like the cadmiums are going to be so much stronger than something like this, whereas like this, if you really do
Right.
get a lot less water, you get such a punchy color. I wanted to make sure that everyone understands like it can go so
Right. So you
vibrant.
can pretty dark, but you can
Yeah.
take it down to
Down.
a very light color.
And it is granulating, so you are seeing also that
Yeah.
that texture of the paper really affecting it, which is stunning.
And then we'll show it on our 3 grounds.
Let me pull this off.
And we have the
read that?
dry version there. So I'm just going to put a little water down.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to remind everybody, this is a Ultramarine Pink Dark. It is a light fast rating of 1. And the pigment is PV15. So that is the pigment code.
We've got a little chunk of watercolor on it.
Yeah,
That's all
we're
right.
mixing it on the paper. That happens. But
So you can see, dark to light, and then this is the wet stage.
yeah, now it's really, really lovely when you get it into
on
that.
the dry. I just
especially with the
love
texture.
this. This is on the cold press ground in the middle, and to me that was my favorite.
Oh, it's
Yeah. It's-
absolutely stunning.
So lots of unique textures you can create, color variations.
Yeah.
So that was our
Okay.
ultramarine pink. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next color. And we got a little watercolor in there, that's all right.
Won't stop us.
The next one is our Phthalo blue, and this is the red shade. We had some requests from artists to add this color, so we've gone ahead and listened, and that's what we've done.
I'm very excited about this. This one's going to feel very,
This one is a
Very
little more, it leans a little bit to the violet kind of bias, but super intense.
Phthalos are always so strong. We always joke about that in here. It's the strongest color ever, but it's
We'll just put a
so
little
pretty.
water on there, and then see if
And
I
s-
can contaminate another brush and
There you
pull that out.
Here, I'm going to contaminate this brush again. And,
With the copper, oh, that might be kind of cool, right?
I'm just gonna jump on in here and just add some copper into this blue and make it just,
Lovely.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think
pretty.
probably any of these colors with copper would be fantastic. So both, the phthalo blue, the red shade and the green shade one, very strong. So
also, sorry,
and we have the,
the
dry
dry
version
version
as well.
So, yes. Let's get that. I'll take that.
And then I'll grab a paper towel and clean this up a little bit.
Right, now also, here's the tube, in case anybody is wondering, also has a light fastness of 1. The pigment code is PB15:0. It's a colon, not a semicolon.
Yeah.
Which one's the one with a little chaka?
That's a semi.
Semicolon. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
colon. I always get them mixed up.
Are you proud of me for knowing what a Chicago is?
So clearly you have heard my nonsense far too often.
All right. So the next one up is going to be our Naples Yellow Deep. I'm just going to pull this over here before I make a mess.
No worries if we do. We're allowed to make a mess. It's fine.
So I'm just going to dampen the paper, and we have Naples Yellow Deep. This is single pigment, and it is a light fastness of 1 as well. It is a non-granulating, semi-opaque, semi-staining color. Naples Yellow
have the
Deep.
tube here. And that's got the pigment code is PBR24.
And because it's so opaque, you could even consider this, using it like a gouache maybe.
Oh, I was going to say, when I was mixing it with the water, I was surprised at how strong it was. It's very, very, very opaque. Now, of course, I believe you mix it with a little bit more water here, but
Right.
it's definitely going to have that. I was like, just double checking.
Yeah.
But the color is, very similar, and like
then
it's going to be.
I think this is our regular Naples Yellow, just so you can kind of compare the two. So this is the Naples Yellow, and this is the Naples Yellow Deep.
So it feels like it pulls a little bit more orange kind of a color. It's lovely. All right. I can take these out your way.
Thank you.
All right. And the next one the next couple of them I've been very excited about too.
And this is an easy one to pronounce compared to the Isoindolinone. So the next color we're going to take a look at is our Benzimidazolone Burnt Orange. I've wet the paper on this side, so let me get my head out of the way.
Benzimidazolone?
Benzimidazolone.
I did it!
Burnt orange.
Benzimidazolone.
Yay!
Ooh.
Right? So this is a really strong color, but letting it down with quite a bit of water, it can be really kind of almost transparent.
Oh, I bet you that would be absolutely really, really lovely for the blush in someone's if you do portraiture. That would be even great for if they're painting lips. That's my background. It's always portraiture. That's where my brain goes. So I'm like, whoa, that would be a very pretty color.
And it really has a little bit, kind of a touch of that Venetian red.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite lovely. All right.
So
And
that was our
Benzimidazolone
Burnt Orange.
Benzimidazolone burnt orange. Everyone should be very proud of me for saying that out loud. Still not going to get ISO yellow. All right, and then the next one is going to be Perylene Crimson.
Correct. Perylene Crimson.
Perylene Crimson.
So this one is as well a non-granulating color. Gonna move that over here, out of the way. And, right.
Ooh, that's stunning.
So Perylene Crimson.
Which I was joking earlier that it does look like we just kind of murdered somebody a little bit, but it's such a
In a pretty way.
in the most beautiful way ever. It is the most perfect color, though, especially when it's just in a little dish.
Yeah.
It looks a little concerning. But I mean,
And it is
pretty.
way more red bias than the Perylene Violet for sure.
and here it is dry.
Yep, and there is the dry version.
And I really love the
Yeah.
Is this granulating or no?
Non-granulating.
Okay. But I was gonna say, I mean, I know that the
The
color,
staining on there.
the staining on there, I feel like has affected the color or the texture a little bit,
yeah.
but it's still really, really lovely. I want to paint immediately.
That's just fun to play with.
It really is. Ah. All right, and then our next color that we have up.
This one, so we looked at a lot that weren't granulating. This one is granulating. This is our brown umber natural. As I said, it's granulating, semi-opaque, and staining.
Now, explain to me what the natural means.
Kathy, can you chime in there?
Because I was like, because I've heard of the brown umber
Yeah.
before, but I feel like natural means that it is like the
Sourced
origin
naturally, yeah.
is slightly different, and I just a little curiosity about that.
Yeah, let's
Ooh.
do the phone a friend and see what
Yes.
Kathy says.
We will jump in for the Kathy on that one. Now, do we have a question?
Yes, the last color that you had swatched, the beautiful bloody color.
Perylene crimson.
Yes.
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 Was that a replacement for something or just an additional color?
I think it's just an additional color. Kathy, again, could probably answer that.
I've heard from Kathy on the natural.
Yes.
from
Okay.
it. Natural means it's a from the earth pigment.
Name it.
Okay. So it's literally coming from
From
Earth,
the earth,
not a synthetic version or anything. But it is so lovely. Now this you said is granulating, so it's going to have the pigments that move on the texture of your paper.
And
I'm
we'll
gonna
kind of
scooch this
hang
over just a
on.
little
Yeah, we'll
bit.
just kind of move that
Oh, okay.
over,
Here. I take
just so we
this.
can kind of look at
Yeah.
this. So this was our Pyrrole Orange and the
Got a little
Ultra
tips.
Pink Dark, right?
Here, actually, I'm going to try and pick up some
Oh,
of this
yeah.
purple and the orange, actually, that beautifully mixed.
Yeah.
But I'm sadly going to try and pick this up so we don't have it affect our color. But that is, oh, that's pretty.
Right? And so I'm just
Happy
going to
accidents.
dampen this as well, and then we'll kind of apply it dry and let it bleed into the wet section.
That's pretty. Holy cow.
And so you can really start to see, you know, some of
Mm-hmm.
that granulation occurring almost instantly on those textured surfaces.
Now that's the granulation, in case anybody needs a reminder, that means that your pigments are going to sit into the bottom of the texture of whatever you're painting on, whether it be paper or these textured grounds. And so they don't want to move as much as the other, the water that's kind of flowing around
Right.
it. So it's going to have these like little, kind of almost like chunks of pigment that stick together. Just beautiful.
And so
Of
this
course.
is the kind of wet on paper here.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it is wet across the three grounds. Here it is dry on the three grounds. Again, this being the watercolor ground, this being the cold press, and then the last one here, the light dimensional, that has a lot of that texture on there. And then we have it dry on the paper as well. And you can really start to see those little particles sitting in there, that nice granulation.
Just stunning.
And I bet this would be, let's do that. I think this would be a great color with the copper too.
Ooh. Don't have to tell me twice.
Let me
Immediately grabbing copper.
slap a little water on there, and we'll put a little copper. And someone's having a heat flash.
Kathy's back with our answer about the Perylene Crimson. She said it's a new addition, and was not meant to replace a discontinued.
Okay, so
color.
I was kind of right on that, more or less.
And I am
look at
just
that copper
obsessed. I'm
and
sorry,
that-
I'm
yeah.
over here getting really distracted and obsessed with what's happening right here.
No,
'cause
that's
this
terrific.
is so pretty.
Yeah, and let's try a little bit on these grounds
yes.
too. Here, I'll move that over.
Here, I'm gonna actually pull, it's like way in the corner
Right,
here.
okay.
I'm gonna pull this closer so that I make less of a mess.
And this area is pretty wet up here, and then down
Up
here
here.
is dry. So you could try either or.
I can try both. All right. So pretty. Ooh, that right there is
Yeah.
lovely. Oh, that
Nice. I
like
love
that
that.
almost like
Right.
a color shift.
Yeah,
Where it gets a little bit more gray.
I think we just
Here, I'm
dumped a
gonna
lot
just,
of color on there. I'm not sure what happened.
So pretty. But it's just, I think it's the nature of the pigment.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty. Very distracted, sorry.
Fair.
All the shiny and sparkly.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
So the three different grounds,
Mm-hmm.
just light dimensional ground is the one that's you can really build up a lot of texture. The cold press ground, and then the watercolor ground.
Nice. Sorry, and I just,
No, it's good.
We
We're
got
just
this
gonna
everywhere.
Mop up here for a second.
oh, so pretty. All right, so that
All right.
was Brown Umber Natural.
Brown umber natural.
Which again, if anybody wanted the pigment code is PBR7.
All right. let's try our next color.
I think this one's going to be, I keep saying it's going to be my favorite, but they're all kind of becoming my favorite.
Did we ever find out what the
Yeah.
favorites were on the
Do we have-
interference colors?
So a lot of people said the green orange and the blue green.
We got a lot of blue green over on.
So the
I
color
know,
shift.
that blue green is
Oh,
so
yes.
pretty. We are,
All
I
right.
think we're into the kind of shifty colors, but I think the interference also come into play when they're really beautiful when you start mixing them with other colors too. And it just, I want to see like the violet with that ultramarine pink dark.
Oh yeah, we can try that. Should we do that right now since we talked about it? Just we got to remember what
I
color we
mean,
stopped with.
I'm not going to say no.
All right, so here we got some wet paper, and what were the two colors you wanted to try?
Ultramarine pink dark.
Okay, so here's ultramarine pink dark, and I'm just going to hand that to you, and you can
Ooh.
swatch it on there, kind of however you want.
I'm just going to kind of go down the middle here and have it bleed into, I'm going to just reach a little bit, sorry. Oh, pretty. So then we have our hard edge where it's dry, and then the soft edge where it's wet, and then I want to
This
drop,
is the interference violet you're putting with that.
and I feel like this is going to have not a whole lot of shift
Right, on
right
the-
now.
But because this one is granulating, the interference violet is granulating as well,
I'm gonna
you'll get a little bit of that buildup.
I might also just throw in a little bit of the interference blue. You know why? No one's going to tell me no. It's
Oh, you
so
can start-
pretty.
yeah, and
Yeah.
very
And that's,
lovely.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but
Yeah, that's really nice right there.
it's so pretty.
We'll have to
I
put
know
that
it's-
over on the do not touch table.
You got the, I know it's glaring, but there's a lot of like really fun little shifts with that sparkle kind of coming through. I think once that dries, that's going to be so lovely.
Yeah.
Especially with that, like that petal of blue that kind of came through here. Okay. Sorry. Very
All right,
subtle.
so-
I got distracted. Shiny.
Up and one more paper towel.
Just making a mess. Okay. So, the
All
next
right.
one that we have in our line is
This is-
Payne's Gray Violet, right?
Payne's Gray Violet, and this one is light fastness rating of 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get the words out there. Non-granulating and opaque and staining.
So, Payne's Gray normally, just a Payne's
Right.
Gray, pulls more blue.
Blue, and
This is the Payne's Gray Violet.
Right.
I think this is going to be, ooh. And then you start pulling it down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
And so you can kind of see that, kind of red-violet bias there. Mm-hmm. I'll just add a little more.
That is stunning. I love how dark it gets, but then it starts breaking down into that almost like really gray violet. This feels like an Amanda color. She's shaking her head, yes. And here it is dry.
That's dry. So probably a little more intense here when we
Yeah.
mixed the color. And then I have the Payne's Gray,
Ooh, perfect.
so you can kind of compare. You can see how, they're pretty
Very similar, yes, but the Payne's Gray purple definitely has that like,
red-violet bias. Yeah.
and this is going to pull that
And
that
this
blue.
would probably look great with some interference color on top of it. So I think you should give that a try
I
as
think,
well.
here, I'm going to let that sit for just a second, but if anybody wants to vote on which interference we put on here, I'm going to let it dry a little bit so that when we put the interference, it'll really shimmer.
Answer to that.
I do know. But everybody vote which interference color you want to put on top of this swatch. I will pull it off to the side until you guys answer and vote. Because we have 2 more colors that we need to go over real quick. Here, I'll pull this off the way.
Sorry.
No. And then, so first, the next color that we have.
Is our Perylene Violet. And let me wet the paper. This one, light fastness of 1, excellent as well. It is non-granulating, semi-opaque, and staining.
I'm so excited for this. It's gonna be pretty. Ooh, that's pretty.
And again, well, I think we're overselling the interference, but I bet that will look great with
Again,
like
it's just-
an interference color.
To put interference colors on everything. It just
So
it's
you can see it's
pretty.
kind of a dark reddish brown violet of
I
sorts.
love that
Yeah,
though. Like this is actually what I would reach for. This and the Payne's Gray Violet. Those are the two colors I would probably reach for over and over again when I start doing shadows.
Oh, yeah.
This would be really lovely on portraiture. The Payne's Gray Violet would be great in landscapes. This would even kind of neutralize some of the greens in landscapes. I think that this would be a really lovely addition to anybody's palette. Same thing with Payne's Gray Violet. But, I mean, they're all really lovely additions. It's just me being like, I'm going to have to buy this immediately. Immediately, yes.
All right, so you can probably hang on to the wet version of that
Yeah.
and save that for one of
we'll do
your
the
interference colors.
We'll do the same one on both.
Yeah.
How about that?
All right, and then the last up is the cadmium purple. And again, a lot of these we're not granulating. The cadmium purple is a granulating color.
That's going to be fun.
Also semi-opaque and semi-staining.
Which I feel like that is just in the nature of a cadmium.
Right.
They're always really pretty strong and pretty opaque, and they're going to be really staining. Like that's going to be a really
Right.
strong color, and takes a little goes a long way.
Right.
Which is just in the name of the game with cadmiums, but it's really stunning. Almost leans a little bit more burgundy.
It is kind of a brownish, reddish, purple.
Which
If I let it down with a lot
pigment code for that is PR108. In case
Okay.
anybody is wondering.
And again, it is a granulator as well. And then there it is on the paper.
But you can
dry.
start seeing that granulation really well up here. If I hold it up, you guys can start getting that lovely texture of the paper kind of coming through. Such a stunning color. And that is the last one,
and
right?
That's all our new colors for now. There
For
could
na-
be
for
more. So
now.
that brings us to 96. So
Love it.
maybe at some point we'll want to round it up to a more even number or something. I don't know.
Now, now that we've had a second though, here we can probably
Yep.
grab that. What are the interference colors that we're going to be adding to these two colors, because we just have to anyway? Did we get votes on the color interference color options?
While we're tallying the votes, I thought I could talk a little bit about what QoR is, because we get a lot of
Yes.
those
Yes,
questions
we really
about, what is QoR, and then we say, well, the binder is Aquazol, and everybody's like, what's Aquazol? So
Yes.
Aquazol's been around for a while. It's used in the conservation field. Mark Golden got a hold of a little bit of it and brought it back to our lab for testing. Because it was thoroughly tested in the conservation field, we did some more testing, and voila, a thoroughly modern artist watercolor out of
Because
Aquazol.
in general, most people when they think of watercolor, the binder is gum arabic. This
Right.
is not gum arabic. It's Aquazol.
And so,
So it
because of
moves-
the binder not being gum arabic, it is a lot more translucent, and so you can really get the brightness and fullness of those pigments to kind
Love
of
it.
show through.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it
re-
moves a little bit.
It flows
differently, too.
beautifully.
Yeah.
It's very resoluble, flexible. So gum arabic sometimes isn't that flexible in thick applications.
Yeah.
Aquazol can be.
I love
so,
it.
Yep.
All right. So what are our tallies for the interference colors?
We have the green blue, and then we also have the purple green.
All right.
Green,
And I
blue.
have blue.
We can do all of them. Okay. So here's the violet green. Violet green. Is that what you said as well? Okay. I'm gonna give you that, and then I'm gonna do the green blue. We do have to mix them up again because that mica can settle down to the bottom of your mixture here, which is, only if you have like a big puddle of it like we have here. We just wanted to be prepared.
And of course,
Ooh.
I'm contaminating
That's
my
fine.
mix.
It's
but
fine. Now we are going to probably have to shift these down just a little so you can see it because it's just off camera. There we go. This one's going to have to go down a little further. Ooh, that's lovely. Okay, now I'm going to try and just hit a little bit of, this is the green blue. And it's not super dry yet. This paper is still, try and get that to shift. I can see it in real life. I hope you guys
Right,
can
so
see it.
the thing with the interference
we
colors
go.
is it definitely works great on dark paper, and you want to work with a darker pigment when you're using it on a white paper. You can build it up in layers, on top of a darker color, but becomes more evident or obvious as it dries.
Makes sense. All right, and then I got the blue right over here.
So this
So that's
is
the green blue.
green violet that I'm putting on here.
Pretty.
And just letting that run into, this is the cadmium purple. And so between the two, because there's some granulating, that'll be really cool when it dries. You guys will have to hang around till tomorrow, or maybe another hour.
I was gonna say, what we can do is we can always post these, a couple of photos of these on our Jerry's Life Facebook group. If you guys are interested in joining and you're not part of that already, what you can do is just make sure you join. It's Jerry's Life Facebook group. Make sure you answer that one security question, otherwise you don't get let in. But I can take a couple photos of these in the next day and try to get that shift captured and really kind of give you a vision of what it looks like, because I'm definitely going to try and pull this. We're going to try that side camera real fast. That might be the way to do this.
All right.
All right, so this is the Payne's Gray Violet with blue is down here, the interference blue, and then I have the green blue shift up here, which is trying to run because it is still very wet.
So pretty.
Yeah, that would be very nice when it's dry.
Yeah. And then, of course, I also have that Perylene Violet. Same thing, here's the green blue shift up here. And then the blue is trying to run because that is the last time or the last one that I applied. But I'm going to take some photos of this and post it to our Jerry's Life Facebook group.
And I'll
And then, of
remind
course-
everybody as well, if you have any questions about watercolor, get in touch with us, help@goldenpaints. Really, any question at all, just email us, help@goldenpaints. Kathy is expert on our watercolors, so she can fill you in on all the details, as well as the other material application specialists. But do feel free to email us with any questions you might have.
Absolutely. And of course, I do have my amazing moderators, Amanda and Michaelia, who are going to pop that contact information to the chats for you as well, so that, that way you can not have to worry about spelling, because I'm the world's worst speller. But of course, if you are also watching this in the future and you have more questions, you can always make sure you pop that into the chats below or wherever the commentary is, and we will always keep an eye out and make sure we answer your questions whenever they come in. So thank you guys. Thank you for Kevin for being on the show. This has been so amazing. I love watercolors. I love sparkles, and I love all the different things that we've been doing. This has been so much fun. So
Very much. Thank
everyone, please give Kevin a round of applause in the chats. Hit the thumbs up button, and of course, ask him to come back because we want him back on the show. But that was it. Again, if you guys are interested in any of these amazing watercolors, go to the website, JerrysArtarama.com. Type in today's class code, which is JL356, and the teacher's cart should come up. And then you can check out all these amazing colors there. And of course, don't forget, next week, join us again, because I will be back, and I will be coming on with glazing with all of the acrylics questions that you guys are going to hopefully have. So any type of glazing with acrylics, whether it be just straight on canvas or whether it be over an existing painting. So I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. I'm very excited. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so before we officially dance off, you guys will see how short I am.
Oh, and we're going to have to dance over the pile of watercolors.
Yes, we have piles of watercolors over here. So, all right. That was the show, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.